This is Michael Popok. It's After Dark. Do you know where your legal AF is? Do you know where your indictment of Matt Gaetz is? Do you know why Matt Gaetz is still in the House of Representatives, especially given the new bombshell information filed in a federal court with sworn testimony and affidavits from everybody, including Matt Gaetz's ex-girlfriend and others, that places Matt Gaetz, this is according to the allegations of the lawsuit, and sworn testimony, in the middle of a drug-fueled party in which underage women, girls, were raped. All right, now it's time for the Department of Justice to do their job. Now it's time for the House Ethics Committee to do their job. And we'll do our job. And we'll talk about it all and break it down for you on Legal AF. Take a listen.
Because then, maybe I don't digress, you're left with Matt Gaetz and people like that who are now making decisions over you and your family and your body and your kids. And these MAGAs, they are obsessed with attacking families that don't live their weird, perverted, weird lifestyles that they're living, even though they pretend to be holier than thou. They're obsessed with trying to screw. It's weird. Get away from us. Just let us live our lives. Popok, Matt Gaetz.
Right. I love that segue. I love that. I love the segue. And I'm getting my Matt Gaetz notes. It's the perverse. It's just perverse. What's happening in a party, a once proud party, right? The grand old party, we used to call it. I may not have agreed with its policies. I may not have agreed on domestic and foreign policies or things like that. But I wasn't disgusted by the other party and its values or lack of values or its leader. And that's where I'm at right now. I long for the days of a coherent, moral second party in this country. And we don't have it. We've got instead Matt Gaetz, who is now, he keeps telling the public that he doesn't know about this underage woman that he's accused of having sex with, which is also known as rape. He doesn't know her. He goes on Tucker Carlson and says, I never traveled with an underage woman out of the country. Well, we got a new filing in a federal court in a case that we didn't even talk about, the need for Legal AF, the new channel. We didn't even follow this case, the original case. It was a lawsuit that was filed by a Florida lobbyist. His name is Chris Dorworth, who was a friend of Joel Greenberg, who is now in jail for 11 years. But before he went to jail, Joel Greenberg was the wingman for Matt Gaetz. And Joel Greenberg used to be the Seminole, Florida County tax assessor. He used to go after and groom young women for sex. And transported them across state lines to do it. Exactly what he accused Matt Gaetz of doing. And he's always claimed through his lawyers that he has been and will be a lead witness against Matt Gaetz because of these drug-fueled sex crimes that they participated in. These are Joel Greenberg's words. Well, Chris Dorworth was also accused of participating in these parties. Makes it sound like it's something that women wanted to be there for. So I won't call it that. These conspiracies that were put together in homes to abuse women, young women. And Chris Dorworth decided, I guess because he had a lobbyist reputation to protect, that he would sue not only Joel Greenberg in a federal court in Orlando, Florida, but he would sue the victim also. So he sued the woman that's always been identified. I'm not outing her on this network. This is how she's always been identified, as AB by her initials. So he actually sued the victim, the woman who underage, under oath, has sworn that Matt Gaetz had sex with her, in other words, raped her. And so Dorworth decided it was a good idea last year to file a lawsuit against Joel Greenberg claiming defamation and against AB claiming the same thing. Well, the problem with that is he's a liar. And the defense lawyers proved it by getting his cell phone tower records, triangulating them, putting him right at the right moment, particularly at a party in July of 2017. That is at the heart of the lawsuit, and other records that they obtained that show that, of course, he was a participant. Joel Greenberg went to Dorworth, and this is all in the filing and in the complaint that was filed. and said, you got to get me a pardon, because Dorworth is a lobbyist, so he would lobby the governor to get him a pardon. I don't know how that would help. Or maybe a Trump pardon, because some of these are federal crimes. And he said, effectively, you know that Matt Gaetz basically committed a crime, and I participated in that. I need a pardon. So there was all of that going on. So in this motion that got filed, along with a series of sworn affidavits from other women, including AB, including the ex-girlfriend of Matt Gaetz, they said that Gaetz participated in these drug-fueled sex act crime party things with underage women. So it's resurfaced again. Where we're at is on the criminal prosecution side of Matt Gaetz. The Department of Justice many months ago, almost a year ago, dropped the case. There was some rumors in the media that they didn't find AB to be as convincing, or they had some questions about her credibility. That is a speculation from reporting. They could always restart that prosecution, and based on what has been filed in federal court, in order to get attorney's fees, because it's a motion for sanctions and attorney's fees against this guy Dorworth because he brought a meritless case. He eventually dismissed it after they showed him he was at the parties. He had to dismiss it, but they filed all of this evidence to prove their case, including all these women and the ex-girlfriend of Matt Gaetz. Department of Justice should reopen, I would suggest, the investigation now that they have this new information and perhaps these new corroborating witness statements. And right now, not yet concluded, is the investigation by the House Ethics Committee, which is the only committee in the House that has no majority leadership. It's 5 and 5 or 6 and 6 Republicans and Democrats. There's no like the majority head. And they have been investigating, and we've heard, as recently I did a report on it, so did you, about 3 or 4 months ago, that they were getting close to making a recommendation about censure against Matt Gaetz, which also could lead to his removal from Congress. In the meantime, he'll tell anybody that will listen, meaning MAGA right-wing media, that he doesn't know the person. This is outrageous. He would never do that. But listen, this kind of reminds me of Tiger Woods. When Tiger Woods had that one woman that came out against him, and then by like 2 weeks later, it was 47 women all said the same thing about him having infidelity in his marriage, and it was all true. I mean, we're starting to see this with Matt Gaetz. I think this is the shoe that is dropping now. And if I'm the Department of Justice and you're watching MeidasTouch Legal AF channel or this YouTube channel, pick up the gauntlet and look at these filed sworn statements against Matt Gaetz and reopen that investigation if it has merit. And the House Ethics Committee, I'm sure, has already gotten their copies of it. The only thing we got to wait on for right now, mainly to protect the privacy of the women. A lot of what's in these things that I've looked at are redacted, meaning these black lines that you see. But there are, unblack lined versions of these things that the government may be able, and the prosecutors may be able to get their hands on, that not in the public docket. So we haven't heard the last of Matt Gaetz, despite his trying to wish it. He's got a House Ethics Committee possible removal from the House Ethics. Welcome back. That's a little podcast we call Legal AF. We named it that 4 years ago for a reason. You hear stories like that. I think you now know why. Join us on Wednesdays and Saturdays at 8 p.m. Eastern Time right here on this MeidasTouch YouTube channel, where you can free subscribe and help them get to 3.5 million subscribers. But in addition to that, in parallel to that, there's a new pro-democracy channel in town that is in collaboration with the MeidasTouch Network, and we like to call that Legal AF MTN on YouTube. Legal AF MTN. I'll be curating the top stories at the intersection of law and politics and bringing it to you the only way I know how, without blowing smoke or sunshine, just telling you what you need to know from a lawyer who practices in the courtrooms that I talk about. Find out what 40 million people a month already know, that Legal AF is the home of law and politics analysis and commentary like no other in the universe of YouTube. I defy you to find another group of lawyers who know what they're talking about at that intersection better than us. Go ahead. I got time. What time is it? So if you want to help build something now from the ground up, some people might be thinking, I wasn't around for the first 100,000 or half a million people who were subscribers to to MeidasTouch. I'd like to be on the ground floor of something. Here's your chance. We're halfway to 100,000 after less than a week. And with your help, we'll meet our goals, signal to the algorithmic gods that you like our kind of content, and we'll keep it coming to you. Help build our new channel with us, with our bare hands. We got no outside marketing department. This is the marketing department. So until my next hot take, until my next Legal AF podcast, Wednesdays and Saturdays at 8 p.m. on this YouTube, until my next exclusive content only for the new Legal AF MTN channel on YouTube. This is Michael Popok reporting. In collaboration with the MeidasTouch Network, we just launched the Legal AF YouTube channel. Help us build this pro-democracy channel where I'll be curating the top stories at the intersection of law and politics. Go to YouTube now and free subscribe at Legal AF MTN. That's at Legal AF MTN.